Okay, so the first one was done for you. The second one you have 35,000. So what I was telling Mia was one thing that I was doing yesterday, and I did not do this last year, was every year I kind of go, oh, maybe I should try this. I always think of something new every year. And I came up with this yesterday, but start like looking at the numbers, especially if it's something that's behind the decimal, because that's where it really gets tricky, I guess. But start like looking at what number are you making. I have to make 35. Then, because I mean, even on her paper, I was writing on her paper, you know, underlining 35, and then I know that it has to be with the 5 and the thousands. So I underlined 35, and then I circled 5,000 because 5 has to be in the thousands place. Because one thing that I noticed is some people are putting their numbers in the wrong square on the place value chart, or some people aren't using the place value chart at all. But yeah, that's kind of on you. But I mean, some people are just like putting the 30, the 35 right here in the first two squares because it's a 2-digit number. Just because it's a 2-digit number doesn't mean you're taking the first two squares. The 5 has to be in the thousands place. The 3 has to be there because it's 35. With 5 in the thousands place. Now that we have an empty square, it should look like that. So a decimal, a 0, a 3, and a 5. That's what you should have. 9 and. When you see an and, you need a decimal. 235. You have to make 235 with 5 in the thousands place. So you know you need 5 in the thousands place. You know it has to be 235. Then the decimal, 9. The stuff in front of the decimal is always really easy. 9. It's just 9. It's always the stuff behind the decimal. 9 and 235 thousandths. 800, there's the decimal, and there's the 5 thousandths. So 5 has to be in the decimal place. 5 has to be in the thousandths place. So there's a 0, there's a 0. 800. So 800. So that's what you should have for D. If any of your answers are wrong, you need to be fixing them. It doesn't do you any good to have the wrong answers because you're always going to think that you're right when your wrong answers are in there. Any questions so far? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Did y'all hear? She said, is it okay if you put 0 in front, 0 in the ones place? That's totally fine because you'll see it like that. Because, I mean, they put a 0 in the front right there. That's fine. You'll see it on homework. You'll see it on tests. You don't have to, but you can. You'll see it on top there. 8 thousandths. 8 thousandths. So look for the fraction with the thousand. 8 goes there. No gap. 0, 0. Again, fraction with 1,000 in the denominator, so my number goes here. The last number is an 8. 28. You okay? All right. So, I got these so far? Y'all being like, yes, I'm right, woo-hoo. Good. So 528 over 1,000. So the 8 goes in the 1,000. 528. And I got my whole number 7 and. Have the denominator of 1,000 again. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Blah, blah, blah. 2. 502. 300. So I've got to do 300. Should look like that. So you see what we did? But it's not 3, it's 300. We good?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So express each of the following values in words. So just to make it easy. I mean, it's easy for me to do those in words because I've been doing this for a while. Make it easier for you. Write it on the place value chart. And I know a couple of you were really wanting to say, well, can I say it like this? And my words were, did you write it on the place value chart? Did you do this? You know, because some of y'all were trying to break it down into place value. When you're doing word form, do you break it down into place value? No. Be like Christy. So this word form is what? 8,000. With the 8,000. That's all it is. So I'm going to write it exactly like it is. 15 with the decimal, a 0, a 6, 2. How would I say that? So 15. I don't need to say 15 ones. I don't say 15 10. Oops, let's spell that right, shall we? I don't say 1 10 5 ones. I just say 15 because that's what I got. 15. And
62.
62 thousands. Excellent. Because the 2 is in the thousands place. All right. So this big guy right here, 6 0 7 4 0 9. How do we say that? I think there was some struggling with having to retrain that brain. And I know you got it right because you asked me. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, how did you say that, Mia?
607 and 409,000.
Thank you for not saying that and again. 607 and for that pesky decimal. 4. So that was hard to say, wasn't it? 400. Let's spell that right. 109,000. You know what's really hard is when you're doing one that has like, say you've got something in the front, and then you have like 5, 6, 7, 9. You get out of there. So you've got this, and it's 5,679 10,000. So you still say it. It's hard to say. So I was in there going, okay, this is tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, or 100,000. So it's like 56,794 100,000. So after a while, you're like, okay, 1.5679.
Let's just do it.
After a while, you're like, okay, our numbers really don't get this big in here. We pretty much stop here when we're saying names. Jasmine looked at me like you are insane.
Yeah, let's just leave it out.
But we don't really go that large.
She was
I think we get answers that big, but we don't. Oh, okay, there. We'll get answers that big, but we don't have to really say them. Okay, so expanded form on A. Some of y'all freaked out on me again. On A, that was the example. If you read the directions, it said the first one is done for you. And a couple people said, I don't know what to do here. And I said, that's the example. And y'all went, oh, and then you walked away. So then on B and C, you were supposed to do expanded form. Oh, so write it in here. Don't try to do it in your head. Oh, misplaced value chart. So, oh my gosh, funniest thing. So, y'all didn't do this, but I was like, use your place value chart. Write the number in here, and then look up. You know, because you look up. Well, I said, write it in there and look up. And like half the class went. And I was like, there's something up there. Look up. It was really funny. I mean, you really had to be there, but it was funny. So, oh, I was laughing. They weren't laughing, but I was laughing. Okay. It was too bad there weren't like cameras to catch that, because that was epic. Okay, so this, where you can do the fraction or the decimal form of the decimal in your multiplication for expanded. So it would be 3 times 1/10 plus 6 times 100 plus 2 times 1,000. Or 3 times this. I saw some of you write your decimals on there. That's why I'm doing it. 6 times that. 2 times that. That decimal's not really. There you go. You can do either one. You don't have to do both. Well, good? Yes, ma'am. Good? Any questions still? Sure.
Positive, the positive.
No bobbleheads allowed. This is not the dashboard of my car. Not allowed. If you have a question, you know, the bobblehead kind of go like this when you're driving down the road. If you have a question, make sure you speak up.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So 4, 9, 5, 6, 4. Looking up. So 4 times 10. Not literally. 9 times 1. 5 times 1, 10. Writing out right. 6 times 100. 4 times 1,000. Did you show any of your parents this and they said, what on earth are you doing?
Yes, that's a mom. No, I showed mom. She said, okay. I said, do you understand? She said, okay.
And she bobbleheaded you, right? Looks great, honey. All right, get away from me. I don't want to do your homework. Get away from me. Right. Well, but see, this is something that you will most likely not really use, but it is important to understand the value of numbers. It is important to understand their placements. So it's like one of those things where you're going, why do I need to know this? I will never use this. I have never used algebra. You know, when people complain and they get on Facebook and they complain about how they've never used this in their lives. Well, some people do. Okay? There are some things, I'm sorry, it's not my job to teach you. But there are some things that you need to know this thing in order to learn this thing. Okay? So with this kind of stuff, you have to know place value in order to line up your numbers correctly to add and subtract. You have to know your place value in order to multiply correctly if you're not lining up your numbers correctly. So everything has its importance. Whether or not you go, I am never using this ever, it's important. There are things that I have learned that were never important. I've never used them. I don't want to say they were never important, but I've never used them. But they were important in whether or not I wanted to do that for my job, you know, growing up. So whether or not I was like, yeah, I never want to do that. So doing math, I just decided I like math. I want to do that. Some people are like, I hate math. I never want to do that. So, you know, math is important. Place value is important. Yes.
I have a question.
About, is it this related or not related at all? Okay. So, expanded form with the place value. That is important. 3 in the tens place. And I wrote over my number, so I don't even know what that is. It's a 5. It's hard to do that with a marker. 2 in the tenths place. 7 in the hundredths place. 6 in the ones. So it should be 35,271 thousandths. So here we have 9 in the hundredths. 2 in the tens. Nothing in the ones. There's no 1 here. 3 in the tenths. 7 in the thousandths.
0 and 0 are going.
I thought you said you go to 0. I was like, no, I didn't. Okay. I did not. 9, 2, 0, 3, 7. 920 and 307 thousandths. Good. It gives you a little sense of pride, doesn't it? You're like, I'm going to train my brain. I'm saying 0. 5 in the thousands, 4 in the hundreds, 8 in the ones, 6 in the hundreds, 5 in the thousands. 0, 0. So 5,408 and 65,000. Yes, sir.
You got, it's actually 35.2.
Shoot.
It's actually 35.276. Yeah.
3, 5. Oh, you're right. I wrote 6. I wrote a 1 instead of a 6. You're right. Thank you. I looked at the 6. I saw the 6, and I wrote a 1. I do that sometimes. Okay.